One. Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Senior News Editor at Retail Insider. Joining me today is Sylvain Charlebois, who is Senior Director, Agri-Foods Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University. Thanks for joining us today, Sylvain.
My pleasure, Mario.
Let's talk a little bit about a recent Statistics Canada report on the food supply and food availability in Canada. Just first of all, Sylvain, what are your overall thoughts on what that report said?
Well, it's always hard to appreciate the value of a report like that because you have to look at what people are buying, what people are eating. You will import and produce and what your population needs. Overall, I think the report is telling us that agriculture in Canada is producing well. We're exporting. We're a player. I mean, basically, our ag economy is stronger this year compared to last year, and that shows how resilient the sector is. So overall, there are areas where there are some concerns, like in produce, for example. But overall, I thought numbers were really, really reassuring.
So when you look at those numbers and you look at the food production in this country, can you relate that to the grocery store industry and the supermarkets out there? What does it mean for them when production is good like that?
It means for more food autonomy, and when you have more food autonomy domestically, it gives you more options and more control, really, as a grocer. You're not at the mercy of a currency. You're not at the mercy of Mother Nature's wrath elsewhere around the world. We have enough on our plates right here at home. We're seeing droughts, wildfires, and floods, and so we have our fair share of issues here related to climate change. So.
Yeah.
Having to think about what's going on in Argentina, Mexico, the US is more difficult for grocers. So
Yeah.
growing more food domestically is absolutely something that is critical for the future.
And I guess it's critical for the grocery industry, right? Because of we've had in the last couple of years, especially through the pandemic, the sort of buy local and kind of movement out there, right?
Yeah.
But you know what, the phrase can be empty if there's not the product out there to buy, right? Locally.
That's
But
right. If there's no local to be bought, your local strategy won't work
yeah.
all that well.
Yeah.
What concerns me, Mario, to be honest, at the grocery store these days, in food in general, people are buying less food, essentially, both in service, retail. We saw numbers recently from Statistics Canada showing us that people are buying less food. So again, it's important for our agriculture to produce more, but at the same time, we're seeing a consumer absolutely hammered because of food inflation in generally, and we're seeing. I mean, basically, our food expenditures in Canada peaked in 2021, and so since Q1 2021, food sales in constant dollars have continued to drop, and that's not a good news for grocers, to be honest. We're hoping that we'll actually start a bit of an upswing at some point in 2023 or 2024.
So when you look at those prices, for the food that's consumed in this country, what areas are we finding that the prices have gone up more than others?
Well, recently, I mean, though so far this year, it's been the story has been around bakery and vegetables, really. Those are
Hmm.
the two categories that are really pushing food inflation higher. Now we're expecting meat prices to pick up over the summer because of what's going on with beef. So generally speaking, that's where we're seeing some pressure points.
Okay, then. Now, one of the issues that industry, well, actually, all industries are facing these days are labor, finding people.
Yeah.
Are you still hearing that that's an issue for the grocery store industry?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, what I'm hearing is that we're starting to see companies receiving unsolicited CVs for the first time, so that's a good sign. So people want to work, but it's still. I mean, the labor shortage is still real. A lot of boomers checked out during the pandemic or soon after, and that group is going to be hard to replace. It's going to take a while, and that's why a lot of companies are looking at automation. In fact, recently I was in Calgary visiting Inventors, which is a show about innovation, automation, robotics, and obviously in the food business, in the food space, there's more interest just because of the labor challenges that the entire sector is facing.
Yeah, one last thing, Sylvain, when you look at, the last few years, one of the big hot topics was a supply chain and how that impacted grocery, retail, you name it. What are you hearing these days when it comes to the supply chain? Have we gone past some of the issues that we were facing in the last couple of years?
The situation has improved. In fact, just recently I was in Montreal meeting with some shipping companies. Actually, there was a shipping conference, and we did talk about the cost to ship on water, and things are more predictable, not necessarily less expensive, because now many governments, many ports are signing green corridor deals, which means that they have to convert to renewable energies to actually
Interesting.
make
Yeah.
shipping ships work and move forward, and that tends to cost more. So there's this transition to decarbonize supply chains is basically increasing costs as we're seeing energy costs, fossil fuel costs
Yeah.
go down.
All right. Wonderful. Well, thanks, Sylvain, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
All right, that was Sylvain Charlebois, who's Senior Director of the Agri-Foods Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Senior News Editor at Retail Insider. Thanks for joining us today.